This world is a patchwork of contradictions. In one province, knights patrol stone battlements. In another, just over the horizon, industrialized big cities operate with high-tech corporate structures. It is a planet of isolated territories with no central authority and no common defense. This fragmentation made them an easy target for the Delta. From the toxic peaks of the volcano mountains, this martial society began a campaign to dismantle the local kingdoms one by one, intending to bring the entire surface under their control. Survival required these provinces to form a planetary union, but centuries of border disputes meant they lacked the trust to even begin a conversation. They were facing an organized extinction because they couldn't agree on who should lead. The figure who finally forced these pieces together wasn't a local warlord or a veteran diplomat. It was a man who spent his life serving drinks in a gay bar on Earth. A planetary union sounds like a grand political project, but here it was the byproduct of a human family sorting out its own inheritance. Joaquin Nalga operated a high-energy bar in Smithville. While he presented himself as a simple business owner, he spent decades navigating the world of drug cartels and local power struggles. That life was messy. Nalga's relationship with his former partners eventually fell apart, leading his daughter, Cassandra, caught in a cycle of disinheritance and legal battles. When she died, she left behind two twins who were heirs to nothing but a family feud. To hide the children's extraterrestrial destination from Earth authorities, their caretakers used a geographic cover story. They claimed the twins were being moved to an island in the Caribbean called Relv. But Relv wasn't an island. It was a province on a different planet. The twins, Juan and Maria, were transported across the galaxy and presented to King Korsk, who had already established a throne in this fractured world. By formally adopting the twins, Korsk tied Earth's DNA to the Relvan throne. This move gave a human family direct control over the province's future and provided the biological foundation for the Union. Relv realized that isolation was a death sentence. To withstand the Delta, they needed to expand their alliances into neighboring territories like Cato, turning rivals into reliable partners. Prince Juan handled the expansion. Under the mantle of a warrior known as the Lambda, he realized that traditional treaties were too fragile to hold a planet together. Juan's strategy was biological. He traveled extensively, taking secret wives in key provinces, and seeding his offspring throughout the continent. He wasn't just building a family. He was planting loyalist agents in foreign royal houses. From the hub of Relv, pulsing lines extend into neighboring provinces, representing Juan's descendants integrating into foreign societies. As these children reached adulthood, they took on military and political roles. A unified network was now operating quietly beneath the divided map. Juan used genealogy to create an omnipresent, decentralized standing army. The Union was no longer held together by paper, but by a sprawling family tree that considered any attack on one province an attack on the bloodline. While Juan secured the borders, his sister Maria focused on the Union's internal stability. She understood that a military is only as effective as the economy that funds it. Maria and her husband Helga moved to Lanton, a big city province that far outpaced Relv in technology and industrial capacity. It was the planet's economic engine, but it was also riddled with corporate corruption. Their descendant Nosy used the family's status to infiltrate Lanton's corporate hierarchy. She and her team developed methods to track cash flows, identifying exactly which companies were secretly laundering money to support the Delta's war effort. Once the corruption was mapped, Nosy executed a massive wealth redistribution. She drained Delta-funded corporate accounts, redirecting those resources to the Union, effectively starving the enemy's logistics while modernizing Relv's infrastructure. The twins had split the work of empire building. Juan provided Maria's bloodline engineered the civic and economic backbone that made the Union a viable superpower. Generations later, the Delta launched a final coordinated strike that overwhelmed the Union's border defenses. With dozens of provinces destroyed and Relv facing total collapse, traditional military options had been exhausted. The Union's true defense was a biological failsafe established centuries earlier. Queen Sharda pre-fertilized hundreds of zygotes, placing them in specialized storage units scattered across the continent. These heirs were paired with experimental time displacement technology. If the royal line was ever broken, the system was designed to send the zygotes into a safe period in the past, where they would be raised and trained in secret. Once they reached maturity, they stepped through wormholes back to the exact moment of the crisis. The trap worked. Just as the Delta forces prepared for their final assault, tens of thousands of Lambda warriors emerged from the wilderness on every horizon, appearing as if they had materialized out of thin air. Because these descendants were already strategically positioned across the planet, they were able to instantly outmaneuver the Delta's concentrated forces. The invasion was crushed from within before it could even reach the gates of Relv. The planetary defense was ultimately a matter of biology. By aggressively expanding one family tree, the Union created a security system the Delta couldn't outrun.